as long as it's all in the name of fun. I'm Brian Noonan. With me, as always, I thought that said Crash Bandicoot. It's Cody Gough.
No, it says Crash Karma is my shirt, and I am indeed Cody Gough. We have a lot to get to today, so I'm just gonna dispense with the fluff, except for the fluff that is coming out of my mouth right now, and tell you what we have in store. We're not gonna bury the lead. Brian met the boyfriend. We got to hear what he's allowed to say about that. He also has a new stylist. We'll see here are Brian's thoughts on getting a new stylist. Maybe you can chime in with your new style something. He's having garden issues.
Garden issues.
My handwriting is bad. Wow. And fancy putt-putt. We'll talk about putt-putt because mini golf is also obviously a thing that's very relatable. And then for me, let's go. Speaking of fancy, is Cody too fancy? We'll find out when we hear about his car shopping experience for a new car this week. Am I too fancy? Well, this will be an interesting debate. Also, how young is too young to bring a child to the children's theater? How did Cody's hour-long theater experience go with his 2.5-year-old? What's the over-under on whether that was great or not? We'll find out. He may be surprised. And then this weekend preview of this big weekend, big, huge weekend, the busiest weekend of the year for me. My calendar is full. It is Gen Con 2023. At least
my God, it's Nerd Week?
It's Nerd Week. It is at least my 20th Gen Con. I don't know how many, but it's a lot. So
oh my God. Now it's funny because now that you're not taking off from the radio station, I've lost track of NerdCon.
Yeah.
Wow, that's exciting.
There's a lot, but as for at the top of the show, we like to do a little quick 30-second check-in.
Sure.
How are you doing, Brian?
I've come to the realization that I need to fix one aspect of my personality. You know, I'm constantly working on my personality and my behaviors and stuff, and I've made great progress, except for one area. And without giving too much detail, it has to do with when I'm in the car, because I'm sure that is where I will meet my end, whether by my own hand or someone else's. And we'll just leave it at that. But it resonated more today. So I have to, as I work on bettering myself everywhere else, that's the one place that I still act in a way that some people might frown on. Let's just leave it at that.
All right.
No microphone.
Yeah, that's intense.
Heavy. It's a heavy start, Cody.
Well,
I come out a little heavy for the 30-second check-in. Other than that, I'm dandy. I'm dandy.
Well, as long as we're keeping things really light, I am listening to Dan Carlin's Hardcore History. You ever heard of this?
I have not.
Oh, it's one of the best podcasts ever made.
Really?
It is. Oh my God, Dan Carlin.
Hardcore.
Very, very good. Very well researched. So he's not a historian. He's a fan of history.
It's not hardcore wrestling?
No, hardcore history.
I know, but it might have been the history of hardcore.
No.
Or porn.
No, there's a lot of. That'd be pretty cool. There are some podcasts on the history of porn that I would be interested in.
Are there?
I think so.
I got to start looking up podcasts. I hear they're very popular.
Well, I was listening to the Q101 morning show the other day, and the host.
I'm sorry, what?
Well, the host couldn't.
Is that a thing?
No, their whole topic was, or is it Q101 now? Or is
don't ask me.
I listen to the radio in the car because I don't just listen to podcasts in the car. I think radio is great. Terrestrial music radio, let's go.
Well, that's true, because you can never have too many commercials.
Dude, I am too lazy to always go in the car and be like, oh, I know what I want to listen to. Like, I have all of human music history in my pocket. Like, that's a little overwhelming. I'm just like, oh, here's rock. Give me some rock. Maybe
you don't have satellite radio in your ride?
Why would I do that?
I don't know. It's fun. There's a lot of great music stations.
Brian,
a lot of things to listen to.
The only active subscription I have is to Final Fantasy 14, which I don't even play. I use a family member's Netflix. I get Max for free with my internet plan. We used our old nanny's Disney Plus. I literally do not
We
pay
use
for
our old daddy's Disney Plus.
We do. I literally do not pay for a single service other than Final Fantasy 14 and Spotify. I space for Spotify. Why would I pay
you
50
just
bucks?
didn't get your old nanny, and old by former, not old like she's 100.
Correct. Yeah,
His former nannies.
What? Why would I spend $50 a month on satellite radio?
We don't spend that much on satellite radio. Well, it came
29
in the car, and both of us have it, so we got, I love it. I love it. I love being able to listen to whatever I want. But now I also listen to Spotify in the car. I'm crazy. And when I'm going to Milwaukee, I listen to WTMJ. Shameless plug. You bet your ass. Speaking of shameless plugs, Cody, let's get it out of the way right now. I am going to be broadcasting live from the Wisconsin State Fair Friday from noon to 3. So everybody should tune in at WTMJ.com. There you go. That's what you get when you talk about radio. I throw a plug in there, and me and the hogs and the goats and cream puffs and a lot of foods on a stick Friday from noon to 3.
Wow, you're going to be at the Wisconsin State Fair with those things? I'm going to be at the Indiana Convention Center with a bunch of pigs and goats and puffballs.
Right, but yours will be dressed in costume. Mine will just be
yeah.
trying to win a medal.
Yeah, mine'll be Dungeon Masters, generally speaking. Let me close a couple threads. Now, first, Mike saying I'm listening to you in the car right now. Good for you, Mike. That's pretty cool.
What did we have to? You started to say something about the Q101 morning show.
Yeah, Q101. The hosts were like, "Wait, how is prostitution illegal but porn is legal?" Because it's like, they're right having sex for money, right?
Right on.
So it's that anyway. I find that stuff.
So if you go to a prostitute, you're saying you should film it.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Yes.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's listen. That's the words to live by. Here on Realities May Vary. We're giving you real life tips for your real life worries, friends.
So if you're hardcore history is generally centers around conflicts or wars, which are conflicts.
What are they good for?
I don't know. But he has I just finished Dan Carlin's series. I get it. I just finished Dan Carlin's series on World War I. It's called Blueprint for Armageddon. It's a 25-hour series.
Good Lord.
Yeah, it's 6 4-ish hour episodes and clocks in at more than 24 hours.
Where do you find the time to listen to 25 hours of podcasts?
Whenever I bring my son our son's daycare is more than 30 minutes away. So I don't listen to it when he's in the car, but after I drop him off or if I'm on the way to pick him up, I pound out 30 minutes right there. And then if I have to go to or from Rockford for any reason without my kids, that's another hour.
Okay.
So it took me probably 2 months to finish, but it was amazing. But as for the 30-second check-in, now I was so the World War I series is so good. You pay for it; it's like $5. It's very. I thought
cheap. You didn't pay for things.
I actually paid for that.
Okay.
I pay for things that are really valuable. I don't pay for streaming services because they're just the worst. The point of the story is,
yes,
I was really into it was such a good series that I'm like, oh, I hope he did something on World War II. He didn't do anything on World War II writ large, but he does have a 6-hour miniseries called Ghosts of the Ostfront, which is all about the Eastern Front, meaning Germany versus Russia, straight up.
Cool.
Or as I like to call it, dark side versus dark side.
Right.
Because to piggyback on your allusions to darkness earlier, what I'm learning is I think the big winner in World War II, with Hitler being who he was
hold on. I want to preface this because this is going to be the clip that gets pulled when you get canceled. Go ahead.
No, this one you can't really take out of context. The big winner with Hitler being who he was in the annals of history is Stalin. Because who do we always talk about as like every conversation degenerates to Hitler immediately, right?
Sure.
Hitler's like the devil. He's like the final boss of historical villains. He's the worst, most evil dude. I think Stalin was worse.
Mussolini doesn't get the play he should as being an evil.
But the quantity, I don't know much about Mussolini, but just when you the scale of what Stalin did, what he did to his own people, the number of people he starved, the number of people he just had shot for no reason. Yes, Hitler did these things, but I don't know, man. It's clearly it's a race to the bottom. They're both pretty bad dudes, but like this, like we all know, and we all know about the horrible things that happened in World War II. We know about the atom bombs. We know about like the stuff Hitler did. Like there's so much bad stuff that happened, right? But dude, I never think about Stalin. I'm sure he's covered in lots of history. Like everybody, other people probably know about him more than me. But now that I'm getting more into it, I'm just like, oh my God. When you think World War II, most people think Holocaust and maybe the atom bomb.
Right.
I don't think most people think Stalin, but like, oh my God, the stuff going on over there. Horrific. So if you want a horrific little 6-hour miniseries, Ghosts of the Ostfront with Dan Carlin, it's it's unthinkable. Just like I don't know. Anyway, there's my weird little rant.
Cody coming out with a hot take against Stalin. I liked it. We haven't had that in a while.
Man, Stalin.
We haven't had the hot take against an evil dictator.
Really bad. Anyway.
Really bad. That's Stalin, man. Really bad. Really bad.
Yeah. He's a bad dude. So
I'm not gonna mince words. Stalin sucks.
Speaking of mincing words, we know what the top story is tonight. So you got a dish. What happened? Who won the baseball game?
The hated Chicago Cubs won the baseball game.
Wait, it was a crosstown game?
Yes. It was packed. It was packed at the ballpark, formerly known as Comiskey, formerly known as the Cell, now known as the Guaranteed Rate Field. So it's I will say this at the beginning. I am under a gag order. Partial gag order, which I plan to violate, really, because it's my life too. And the gag order came. This is all right. I'm going to start out saying this, then you'll understand why the gag order. So this is why the gag order is in effect. I posted a picture on Instagram from sitting inside the car, and it had a bottle of beer in a Sox koozie and a can of New Glarus and the Sox sign in the background. And it said, and I quote, "Parking lot beers before watching the Sox take on the Cubs and meeting daughter's boyfriend for the first time." That was the entirety of the tag.
Okay.
You're not going to get I contend there's not a lot of information in that post. I was drinking in the car, but we were parked. We had beer from Wisconsin that's not sold in Illinois. I was going to a game, and we were meeting. I didn't even use her name. I went back to the old way. I didn't even use her name.
My daughter, yeah.
I just said daughter, and I said boyfriend. I didn't post a picture of anybody. I didn't post anybody's name. There was nothing. All right, so that caused consternation the next day. But whoever had the seating chart, you remember we were debating the seating chart. Do you have those notes?
Yeah, I've got the notes. Okay, so Brian predicted it would be Brian, then Debbie, then Molly, then boyfriend on the end. I mostly agreed, but just for variety, I predicted Brian, then Molly, then boyfriend, then Debbie. And Gina also in the chat backed me up on that one. So
it was Brian, then Debbie, then boyfriend, then Molly.
Oh,
yeah. So nobody won that. And I will say first off, and I'm not giving any name. The kid seemed really nice. He's very smart. He's getting a PhD in some sort of chemistry that deals with plastics. Polymer chemistry is what it is. He's getting a PhD in polymer chemistry because he wants to take, there's already some plastics that are recyclable. But, and this is what I gleaned from the words I could understand. And not because he couldn't communicate well. It's just, I'm not a polymer chemist. There are some plastics or rubbers like tires that can't really be recycled. So he's in the lab figuring that out, which seems very admirable to me.
That's cool. That's very cool.
He was also a marching band, collegiate marching band guy, so they have that in common. I won't say where he's from, because God forbid, there's probably a few million people in the state that he's from, but it might be deemed identifiable if I say where he's from. It's east of here, let's just say.
Oh, I was thinking you meant Montana immediately.
No. That's northwest of here.
Yeah.
It's east of here, and it's the town he's from is the home to a Big Ten football powerhouse.
Okay.
That's what I'll say about that.
All
So
right.
he seemed very nice. Now, I was nervous about this, so this was my plan. We were going to leave early. Debbie and I, we were going to get down there because Molly and he were going to meet us at the gate. So that was fine. We pack up a few beers to have as a like a little tailgate party and get down there. We park. Everything's fine. Oh, traffic was horrible, but you know what? I had time to decompress. So I'm sitting in the car with Debbie. We're listening to some music, having a beer, and it gets down. I think I had brought 3 beers for myself, and Debbie had brought a couple for her. And I was on my second beer, and I was almost done. And I thought to myself, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to save this last beer and offer it to the boy because I know he likes beer. Now, by boy, he's 27. So, don't think Molly's dating like a teenager and I was giving a teenager a beer. I just call him the boy because I'm not, I don't want to give out any information.
Sure.
So picture a boy any way you want, whether it maybe in a little short sailor suit. I don't know how you want to picture the boy, but that's what I'm going to call him. No disrespect meant.
Okay.
But I said to Debbie, don't drink that last beer because she had 2. She goes, are you going to drink that last beer? I said, no, I'm saving it for the boy. And she was like, oh, that's nice. I'm trying. I'm from the outset. I'm trying. So they got off the red line. I hope that doesn't identify them too much. Oh, they took public transportation. So did they come from the north or the south? I'm not saying. And they walk up to this is the only part I thought she might get mad because I saw them. Molly called Debbie and we gave her the exact coordinates of where we were parked. And I saw her kind of wandering and spinning, and I just got out and I yelled, Molly. And I was like, oh no, I yelled her name. What if this is not going to go over well. But they came over and she introduced him and I was like, hey, how's it going? Nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah. Would you like a beer? Oh, sure. I'd give the kid my last beer.
Wow.
That's right. That's nice, right? How about a brownie point? Then it's, we small talk. We go into the game. Everything's fine. But here's the thing. This is where I proved my mettle. There was a fight in the row right behind us. And a guy poured a beer down my entire right side because I was sitting on the aisle.
What?
Yep. Now, if it had just been Debbie and myself, if it had just been Debbie, Molly, and myself, I would have been up and there would have been some words. Because I'm telling you, I was soaked. And I sat there just steaming. And I was like, don't get up. Don't say anything. Just sit here quietly. That's got to be worth a few more good boy points. Because they all saw it. And the boy even went, did you get all wet? And I was like, yep. And I'm staying calm. I didn't do anything. Then I decided I'd get 1 beer at the game. So I go and I get an old style draft because I'm feeling old school. And I'm walking away and I'm like, this beer feels really light. When the foam settled, there was about a half a cup of the beer there. Now, again, you know me. How do I react to something like that? I'll answer normally not well.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. All I did was I said to Debbie, hey, look at this beer. And she's like, oh, that's horrible. And I'm like, yep. And I didn't say anything. And then I wasn't sitting in silence. We were making conversation and I had bought a bag of peanuts and I kept offering them peanuts. It was very nice. And then we said, well, we're not going to, Molly was like, oh, aren't you going to eat here at the ballpark? And I was like, nah, I'm not really. I was thinking maybe we just go to like Rick Benny's or something after the game. I said, and you guys are welcome to come if you'd like. Well, I don't know. We may just want to go home because he had a sandwich and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, that's okay. I said, but know that you're welcome and you can, if you'd like to come. All right. So the game's over and we're leaving, and people are just stopping, and I'm like, okay, I have to just take a breath and walk through. And then they said, "Oh, we're going to come to Rick Benny's with you." I was like, "All right." So we ended up having a nice time. We go to Rick Benny's. I treat. Everybody everybody enjoys it. He had never had a breaded steak sandwich before, and I hadn't had one in a number of years. Oh my God. It was like Jesus sat on my tongue. It was phenomenal. It made giving up my last beer. It made not turning around and getting into a beef with these Cubs fan assholes who poured beer all over me. Everything was worth it because I was like, one, everything must have gone well because they decided to come out and have a sandwich with us. Two, the sandwich was delicious. Everything was golden. Till the next day. At one point, when we were leaving, he went into the bathroom. And Molly's like, "So?" And we're like, "So what?" "Well, did you like him?" And I go, "Well, do you like him?" And that was probably the wrong answer. But then I went, "No, he seems very nice. He seems like a nice guy. He seems very smart. And he seems to treat you well." I mean, we didn't have a lot of conversation because we're watching the baseball game. But the next day, I said to Debbie, "Hey, did you talk to Molly?" "Yeah," she said everything went great. She had a great time and she was so happy everybody got along, and it seemed to, and then I'm up here working. About 10 minutes later, Debbie comes up and goes, "There was one thing." I'm like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "What can it be now?" Because trust me, I'm usually on pretty good behavior. I was on double secret probation, good boy behavior. She goes, "Did you post a picture on Instagram?" I said, "Yeah, of 2 beers." "Yeah, Molly saw that, and she'd like you to take off the part about meeting the boyfriend for the first time because that's very private." I'm like, "How? Nobody knows anybody's name. I didn't put her name. I didn't put his name. I didn't tag them. I didn't, there's no picture of them. It's a picture literally of 2 beers on my dashboard." "Well, she really would like you to take it off because it's private." And normally I would have just gone pound sand. But I went in and I took off that little phrase, and then I'm up here working and I was steaming. And she came over to drop off Walter. And I knew she had pulled up, but I was legit working. And she goes, "Aren't you going to come down and say hi?" I was like, "Oh yeah, but I'm sorry, I didn't see you come in. I'm working." So she came up and didn't bring it up, didn't mention it, but I guess Debbie, because then Debbie drove her to the airport, and I guess Debbie said that told Molly she was being very unreasonable, and there was nothing, she needs to cut me some slack because there was nothing wrong with that post. It had nothing to do with them. It was all about me, and it was all about the beer. That was what the picture was about. So here's the lesson, Cody, and you have a young daughter now. At some point, you'll realize you can never win. No matter what you do, you can never win. So that was it. Overall, I think he's nice. I would imagine if they keep going out, I'll see him again. But the news blackout will have to continue.
Yeah. Hold on. You went into a lot of detail. What gag order?
The Instagram post.
Oh, that was it. Oh, okay.
And I'm sure right now, like if she hears this, I'm going to be in big trouble. Even though I gave other than the fact that she's my daughter, nobody knows who this other guy is. He could, in fact, be imaginary. Maybe she brought Flat Stanley to the Sox game. And I had to pretend that her dating a paper doll is normal and everything was fine. I'm not saying she did. I'm not saying she didn't. I will neither confirm nor deny whether this person was human. He seems very nice. Yeah, Marta, there's no logic to it. I talk about whatever I want. This is my business.
Okay.
And I don't, I'm always cognizant of what I'm saying. It may sound like I'm just shooting from the hip all the time, but I know exactly what I'm doing. So
That's true. Brian does know what he's doing.
thank you, Cody.
I can
So that I know sometimes even I question it, but then I look back and I go, okay, here's how I justify anything. Go back and listen and tell me what part isn't true. Except the Flat Stanley thing, which if people actually believe that she took Flat Stanley to the Sox game, is that my fault or is it their fault?
Right.
But everything is true. But I'm happy for her. He seems here. This saved me because we sit down at Rick Benny's and he's got his phone out and he's fiddling with his phone. I'm like, in my mind, Debbie copped to this too. We both were like, oh, I hope he's not going to be on the phone the whole time we're sitting here. That would be bad. But he was actually Venmoing Molly money they had rented a cabana at her building the weekend before for a pool party. Like there were a bunch of friends came over to Molly's building for a pool party and they had rented a cabana. And so he was Venmoing her the cabana money.
I've never been Venmoed for a cabana.
Well, maybe you need to, you should have stayed single. Then you could have lived downtown in a high rise with a pool and you could have had a cabana.
I don't want those things.
No, now you have a house with kids and a wife.
Yeah.
Sounds much better. You got the better end of the deal.
I like that better.
Yeah. In the long run, it's fine. I've never been Venmoed for a cabana either. And look how well my life's turned out.
How?
Well, let's not dwell on that.
Okay. Well, I'm glad it went well.
It did go well. I couldn't have been happier when it was over. And for me, that's weird. But I proved I was, I could be a regular human being and I could not embarrass her. I know it. See, the thing is they portray me as like this bull in a china shop, but I know how to, treat people. I have social skills. I've been in the public eye for a long, long time. So I got this covered. But I'm glad he wasn't a jerk. If he had been a jerk, it would have been troublesome. The fact that he seems like a wholesome kid who's got his stuff together. So I'm happy. I'm happy for both of them.
Yeah. These things can go horribly awry. I had a family member bring a woman home for Christmas Eve one year. First time we'd met her, and she got real drunk, like blackout drunk, pretty much. Decided I didn't want that person to come around her family anymore. Unfortunately, a family member then married that person.
Wow.
And there was a subsequent divorce.
Wow. We have a story that is completely parallel.
Really?
Yes. One of my brothers, I won't say which one, came to a Thanksgiving dinner that was held at my aunt's house. After being out and getting drunk the night before and meeting some woman, they showed up at Thanksgiving dinner. They were still drunk, ended up getting married, getting divorced, same thing.
Because of the alcoholism.
Well, he stopped drinking while they were married, and that proved problematic for her because she didn't want to stop drinking.
Yeah, similar. So yeah. Oh, anyway, so yeah, things can go very, very
things can go awry.
Because you almost assume, like, for the most part, your kid's gonna, or your whoever it is, is gonna bring around their significant other for the first time.
Yes,
they'll be fine, right? There won't be like immediate red flags, right? But sometimes there are.
Yeah, there. I don't know this guy because I did say at some point I asked, I asked some funny chemistry question, and I was like, all right, let's see if he laughs. He did. And then I impressed him because I didn't impress him, but I was trying to make small talk. And I said, it's, I don't know much about chemistry, but I do remember one mnemonic device from the periodic table that I learned in high school. He was not really impressed, but he feigned it. He feigned it well enough where I was like, all right, he's like, oh yeah, that's, he wasn't a jerk about it. And it wasn't, even Molly laughed.
Nice.
So I was trying to meet him. I was trying to meet him where he lives.
Yeah, no, dude, you get
Yeah.
it's worth. You show the effort, and then they show the effort of at
Right.
least pretending, at the very least. Like I brought a girl home for Thanksgiving one time. She was a vegan. And my parents made like a whole separate meal basically for her because she decided she was vegan.
She
And
decided, like right before Thanksgiving on the drive over.
I don't know. So since then, actually, the first question my brother Zach asked my wife when I introduced her, the first question he asked was, "You're not vegan, are you?" Because she left such a bad impression, my ex, about just being, and I've got friends that are vegans. I'm not gonna like make the vegan jokes, but I should hate vegans because of this person. But she's like such a bad person. She turned out
There's
to
a
be
lot of other reasons to hate
she turned
her.
out to be a very like I'm actually on good or like at least like neutral terms with all of the women I've ever dated except for this one. She's a terrible person. So
Wow.
it's not like like she makes vegans look bad. So I'm like, all right, fine.
Wow. People are asking for the mnemonic device.
Yeah.
It's Helena K. Rubinstein cusses in French. It's for helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, radon.
That's actually impressive.
Yeah. That's one of the, I can count on one hand the amount of stuff I remember from high school. That's one of them. And then he never argues with nasty xenophobic Russians is another line, but I can't remember what those chemicals are.
Okay. I have one mnemonic device, but it's wrong. So
okay.
I was gonna say, are you element 119 because you're the only 10 I seen. But
is that if you're trying to hit on science women? Science women. Yeah, like scientists who are women.
No, so I got it. The problem is I got it wrong. So it's actually element 117, and the element is Tennessine.
Okay.
Tennessine. So I could be like, oh, are you element 117? Because you're the only 10 I seen. And it's really stupid, but I don't remember the 17 part. So that doesn't work. But one proud thing I am, my really good friend Megan from high school, who's like the coolest person ever. She went on to get a engineering degree from like University of Minnesota, like some really good engineering school, and she was just super brilliant. She teaches it now somewhere, but she told me in college that she always remembers cosine, like sine, cosine, tangent. She remembered cosine because apparently in physics class I blurted out, oh, like close sine, because the cosine is like two things that are close together. I don't even know what a cosine is.
I was like, oh, I hope he explains what it is. So I have
no idea what a cosine is, but she literally used it like and became an engineer and used my stupid
mnemonic
device, my verbal trickery. So yeah.
Oh my God. Well, that's so that was my story. Now, I told you I drove my car down there. You are in the market for a new vehicle, and if for those who were not privy to your first vehicle purchase, it was quite entertaining as we would talk about it overnight. Considering you didn't even know what color car you had bought.
No, that was on this show.
Was it on this show?
Yeah, because I moved. We did
Oh, that's right. You moved. Yes. Yeah. You didn't even know what color this car was.
I still
Which
don't.
is the most basic of all automobile information.
It's maybe silver-ish, but it's kind of a blue.
But you've got a night one of those sensible family wagons. It's not a minivan, and it's it's a Subaru, right? The one. If you believe the commercials, your family is safer in the Subaru than they are at home.
Oh wow.
Yeah, the Subarus are supposed to be very safe. Now,
yeah.
I'm not asking you to put that to the test, but
sure,
that's their marketing.
Yeah. So my question for you and the dear listener is: am I too bougie? So
why?
We're in the market for a second vehicle, and because let's face it, my wife is a tree hugger, and so am I. We want it to be very fuel efficient, but also big. So that means we're going to get a hybrid SUV.
Okay.
So I did a lot of research. The Toyota RAV4 hybrid is pretty much the way to go. It's like the best-selling SUV hybrid in the US. Toyota is a great brand. They have great cars. You know, it's just kind of a no-brainer. We looked around and I'm just like, let's just do this. I'm in the market for used. I've always been a used car guy. My dad just embedded that in me growing up. He's always like, loses half the value the second you drive it off the lot. That's not true. It loses like 30 or 40% in the first year or something.
Right.
But it is a lot, right? Like, it's not a good investment of your money, right? It's the most expensive thing you buy that immediately becomes less valuable.
Yes.
Immediately.
Now,
so
I know you, just to jump in, used car prices have gone crazy. I know they've settled back down, but right after the pandemic, because I've had the dealership trying to buy my car back and it's 10 years old for the last year. They're like, hey, it's a great time. You want to sell that? You want to sell that Hyundai back to us? That'd be great. You could sell it back to us because a million people are looking for used cars and nobody wants to pay for the new cars.
Yeah. The prices, I don't know. Like, this car that we're looking, this type of car we're looking at is twice as much as what we paid for our current car.
Okay. On a new one or a used one?
On a used.
Well, it's because you're going hybrid, man.
Well, yeah, for sure. Then we get that and fine. So here's the thing. I found a 2022 RAV4 hybrid.
It's barely used.
Barely. Oh, it's got like 15,000 miles.
Nice.
So
that's
less than 2 years old, single owner, basically a year's worth of mileage on it. Like, it's basically a new car, right? It's still under like the manufacturer. All the warranties go to like 30,000 miles.
Right. And usually the transmission is up to 100,000.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So this is like basically a new car, right? And we're shaving 10K off the bat right there. All right. So we're looking and it's like this place in Elmhurst listed at like $31,500 or something, $31,000. A lot of money, but whatever. We're suburban. Take out a loan.
I'm looking at Toyota right now. A brand new one is $31,200 MSRP.
It says that, but then you end up with a lot of upgrades. The other thing that I've heard, and I will investigate this, but I've heard if you order a brand new Toyota, you still won't get it for like 8 months or something.
Yeah, you got to wait forever.
So that's the thing. And we need, but my wife is starting a new job in a few weeks, which is great. It's just a part-time thing, but she'll be working a few days a week while the kids are at a daycare. And that means that I will just be sitting at home by myself with no ability to go anywhere like 3 days a week. Not great. Also, like, if one kid's in daycare, the other has a doctor appointment or something.
Right. You got to have a second car.
We're just at that point. We 3
You're
years
a suburban family with 2 kids. You need a second car.
Yeah. 3 years in the suburbs on a single car with 1 kid. I think we did okay. But now
you have to become bougie and have the 2 cars.
Yeah. So we need a car sooner than later. So you
need a car that will fit 2 car seats and all the travel accoutrements that come with young children.
Correct. So we get to the dealership, take the car for a little test drive. Seems fine. Runs good. Nice and spacious inside. I can stretch out. I'm 6'4". That's good. No power seats.
What?
The front seat, you've got the bar that lets you move it forward or back, or you can take the recliner thing. If you kind of like jack that up or down, you can.
Oh, it lifts it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you can adjust the seat the seat height. There was that, and then no heated seats, which we have in our current vehicle, which my wife is a big fan of.
Yes.
That's kind of it. So we're sitting there and go inside, and I was like, "It's basically a brand new car. It's a hybrid. It's a pretty good price. I'm not gonna write a check for this today." And we just left.
Wow, nice.
Now
look at you standing your ground.
I don't consider myself I don't need auto drive. I don't need turn by turn navigate. I don't need sensors. Whatever. But I guess it's 2023. I guess I just now that I have heated seats and just power, because the other thing is I'm a foot taller than my wife,
yes.
Right? The first thing you do is adjust the hell out of the seat. There's a lot of seat adjusting, right? So I'm just thinking every time I drive for the next like 10 years, I gotta like crank it up like I got manual windows or
Yeah,
something.
like you're churning butter, like you're making your own ice cream. It's
Right.
craziness.
All right. Am
You're a
I
man
out
of
of
means.
line?
All right, here I'm going to say no because my car when I bought now again, my car is 10 years old. But it has heated seats. It's the first car I've ever had that has had heated seats.
Mm-hmm.
They are phenomenal. Debbie is horribly jealous of my heated seats because she has a Kia Soul, which she likes the car. It's actually a lot roomier than it appears. It's easy on gas, but her seat is just like yours. When I drive it, you've got to, jack it up. You got to crank it like that, and then you got to do this. And it's nuts. And mine, you get in and get it all set. And now, granted, I'm the only one who drives my car, so the seat never became a thing. But my previous car, which was a Chevy Trailblazer, had electric seats, no heated seats, but you could set like driver number 1. And if Debbie had driven the car, I could press number 1 and the seat would just go back to mine. I was like, oh.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I think once you have it, like she said now, whenever she gets another car, it's going to have heated seats. That's
all right.
That's a thing.
Okay.
I think in this day and age, there's certain things that you want. Like would you ever buy a car that didn't have power windows?
Correct. No.
No.
That is a no.
Would you buy a car that didn't have air conditioning?
No.
No. Would you, yeah. I don't think it's unreasonable to go, no, I want power heated seats.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I want.
All right. Yeah.
You're going to be driving those kids. Listen, you're not going to be buying cars every year. You got 2 kids who are going to start chewing up all your money.
Right. Now I got a limited I have a limited budget, right? So I can't tack on another $5,000 to get a comparable. Cool. I won't need to, but what I'm saying is like what I'm going to have to sacrifice now is mileage, right? So I can get let's say I can get a 2020 model with heated seats and all the bells and whistles, same price, but it's going to have like 50,000 miles.
But it's not. It wouldn't be the same price.
Might be
because it's a couple years older with more mileage.
No, that it would still no. I mean, they're all like the floor for the RAV4s and so 2022.
I know Toyotas and Hondas hold their value more than other cars. The price doesn't drop as much as with other models.
Yeah.
Or
so
makes, rather.
With the RAV4 specifically, what I have generally found is so after 2019, the fuel efficiency improved. It became like 20 or 30% more. So 2020 and newer models, typically, even if it's got more miles, the floor is pretty much $30,000, unless you're going up to like 90,000 miles or something, or you're around 100, and I don't want that.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's what makes me, gives me reason to pause is like I can get basically a brand new car without these nice amenities, but with 15,000 miles on it, or let's say I get a different model with the amenities, but it's got like 30 or 40 extra thousand. That's like 3 or 4 years of a car's lifetime. I'm just like sacrificing for like power seats.
Yeah, but here's the thing. If you get a car that has, if it averages out to like 12 to 15,000 miles a year on the car, that's just normal driving. You're not an on the road salesman. You're not going to be driving this car, or your wife's not going to be driving this car all over the country forever. So a couple of years when you still have those long warranties for all that stuff, and these cars, you can drive them. They don't quit at 100,000 miles.
Yeah.
They keep going. So if you can get everything you want and you're sacrificing a couple years worth of mileage, that doesn't mean it's a couple years off the car's life.
Mm-hmm.
Because I drove cars, when I was on the road, I was putting on a whole lot more than 12,000 a month, and my cars all lasted. I think the Trailblazer had, my Cavalier had over 200,000, 250,000 when I got rid of it on the original clutch. We bought a used Buick Roadmaster station wagon and drove that to California and everything. And that had, I think when we sold it out there, had 190,000 miles on it.
Mm.
My car now, and I'm not on the road with it, my car now has 130, I think, but it got a new engine at 99.9 because the engine blew, and thank God I was like a couple hundred miles away from warranty.
Oh, wow.
And they put a brand new engine in it because they're like, yeah, this happens to Hyundai engines sometimes. Boy, you're lucky you're still under warranty. I'm like, whoo, am I? You bet. So I, it's just me. I would rather have the things that because you're the one who has to be in that car for however long it is.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're always going, geez, I'm on this manual seat and you get in and you live in Chicagoland, it's cold. And when you get in that car early in the morning to drive the kids to daycare or in a few years to school or wherever you got to go, and you click that little button and you go, oh man, this seat is toasty warm.
Yeah. Okay. All right. No, I appreciate the vote of confidence. A lot of support in the chat. Stuart says, "Hold that for what you want." Mike says, "It's a lot of cash. Do what you want. Don't settle." It is, and that's
you're spending a lot of money. Why not get exactly what you want?
That's what I told the sales guy. Eventually, was kind of like, what number do you need me to get this to for this to be good? And I was like, honestly, I want to talk about the sales process in a second.
Oh yes, please.
But I was like, honestly, like, you could tell me I could walk out of here, everything soup to nuts for $30K, but I'm not going to stand here and write you a $30,000 check and feel good about it. Like, I just don't love this car. That's a lot of money.
What color was it?
Black.
Ooh, stylish.
Yeah. I don't know. It'd be nice if it's a different color than our other car. Just simplicity.
Don't get a white car.
Yeah. But, so the sales process. So we do the test drive, walk around, right? It's listed on the dealer's website for like $31,500.
Okay.
And he's like, "How are you paying, cash or finance?" I was like, "Well, you tell me what you can do.
You tell me how I'm paying, because I have no idea."
So he goes, he does the walk, the walk.
Where they got to go back and talk to somebody.
Well, they got to go back and talk to somebody and run the numbers.
Let me talk to my manager.
Let me go run the number. Let me get my manager.
Talk to fun.
Senior info manager out here. All right. So he goes back. So again, it was listed on their website as 31,500, let's say. What number do you think he walked out with as the proposed subtotal? Put it in the chat. Again, 31,500. You got to figure 6.25% Illinois taxes. So it's not like $2,700, let's say. So I'll give you that. So on top of that, what do you think the total estimate came out to after after the used car salesman trickery?
34,600. That's my guess.
All right. Somebody in the chat guess 31. That would be pretty incredible.
Yeah.
33,281.
Wow. Mike is playing prices right here.
Very specific.
Drew, I'm gonna go $1 more, Drew.
I should note this is for like all the stuff they wanted to include.
Sure, rust proofing. They probably want to sell you the coating for the paint, because there's tree sap and there's bugs and there's road rocks, and if you get a chip in the paint, that's gonna. You ever try to get a car repainted? It's gonna cost you a fortune. This is nice insurance on the clear coat, because the clear coat's very important. So,
all right. So, what was your total you said, Brian?
I said 30. Did I say 34,600 or 34,700?
I don't know,
something like that.
So it was 41.
And that list price again, Cody, on their website was
31,500.
31,500, and the best he could do was 41.
So I'm like,
and you stayed after that.
I was like, can you help me understand where this comes from? Yeah. So it was like 2,400-ish from taxes, or somewhere around there, 2,500. Licensed 150, title 150, electronic filing $30, doc fee $350. They get a 1-year care package where any service is free for $200, which that actually sounds fine. A couple $100. It's like 2 oil change, three or 4 oil changes, and that pays itself off, right? So like, okay, I can handle that. But so he let me take a picture of the updated offer, but the initial offer, he had the selling price. He had like $5,000 the selling price. And he's like, oh, it's so we can do a final inspection on the vehicle and make sure it's all proper, so we can kind of certify it, and that way if anything goes wrong, we can we just.
Huh?
I'm like, this is a brand new car. This car is a year old with 15,000 miles. I don't think I need a $4,000 inspection.
Yeah, and aren't you supposed to be selling certified used cars?
Yeah. So there was that. They threw on the tax. They threw that paint thing that you were just talking about. There was some weird like paint and childcare thing, and he's like, "Oh, if your kid like bites the leather out of the seat or whatever, we'll come patch it up." It was $3,000.
Sure. Well, because listen, I know your children; they're lovely children, but they do often chew up upholstery.
Well,
that's why I don't let your kid on the couch when he comes over, because they do that.
We're working on that,
I know. No, I understand. It's okay. It's fine.
But dude, I'm glad I'm not a car guy, because like the whole thing was like, oh, if your paint gets scratched or your paint comes off, do you think I care what my car looks like? As long as I'm not driving up and people think that I'm like some total derelict, right? Like I do not care if I have some scratches on my paint job. Yeah, Mike says run away from this clown. Yeah, I said cut all that crap. I said cut all of these extras. I don't want any of this stuff. Run the numbers again. No extras. Okay, I'll take the $200 like 1-year maintenance plan. That seems like a good deal, actually. And then get rid of that inspection. And he's like, well, but if the battery dies, we won't be able to do anything about it without that inspection. I'm like, all right, well, if the battery dies in a brand new car, like I have bigger problems than whatever.
It sounds like the car should have been the car was inspected when they took it back and put it on the floor.
Yeah.
That's not a good place to be.
No. So then he comes back and he's like, okay, well, here's your new option. He brought the total down to 36.3. So he suddenly just magically knocked out $5K. Okay. But it's still $5K over what and so I'm just like, why is the MSRP still above 33?
Yeah.
This is still 50. He's like, well, my manager said we can give you a cheaper inspection. We could just,
of course you did,
knock 65% off of that mandatory inspection. But when we got, because I mentioned, I was like, I might be able to pay cash, and he's just like, well, because he says something about
let me jump in real quick, because I did a little Googling. Toyota on their website, certified used vehicles, where they have done 160-point inspection. They have the Carfax history, a 12-month, 12,000-mile limited comprehensive warranty, 7-year, 100,000-mile roadside assistance, limited powertrain warranty up to 100,000 miles or 7 years, financing, new car financing rates they'll give you on their certified used cars. So they already know what kind of car they have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did they also try to bend you over with a ball gag in your mouth?
I don't know. I was at that point, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go. He's like,
I'm gonna go.
I was like, do you have any cars?
Did you go by yourself?
No, I went.
Please tell me you didn't have the kids with you.
Oh, I had the kids.
Oh God.
No, and then I'm like, yeah, I'm like, it just doesn't have the amenities we want. He's like, well, let me go look real quick and see if we have anything else that'd be similar. I'm like, fine, go humor me. Because I told him this was way outside. I was like, it's got to be under 35. He goes up, he comes back. He's like, oh, we have one Toyota minivan. It's not a hybrid though. And blah, blah, blah. It's X and Y. And it's
diesel.
And it's $43,000. And I'm like, what part of this did you not understand? Like, I get that you're a sales guy, but like this isn't if you're shopping for a house and you tell your realtor 300,000 and they show you $315,000 house, I get that. But if you say 35 is like my hard stop, I don't know. Salespeople, car buying sucks. Car buying is not a fun experience. Like, it's not like buying a house where you get to
No,
look
it's
and dream and
awful.
imagine. It's just like, oh, I'm dealing with a person that's going to give me a load of bullshit.
Yeah,
Just
it's
never ending.
and there's no way that you're going to trust them because there's a reason that car salespeople have that reputation. It's because they've always done it. Done it that way. I don't know if there are certain places that have no haggle, like this is the lowest price we're gonna give you. This is it. We're not gonna mess around with all this. Yeah, like here's a 20. All right, here's a certified 2020 RAV4 hybrid XLE all-wheel drive. All-wheel drive is nice, especially in the snow. It's got 20,000 miles on it, 20,600 miles on it. 32,726. It's black.
Where's that?
The exterior is Attitude Black MC.
Is that on cars.com?
It's on Toyota's website. This is a Toyota of Lincoln Park.
Oh, dude.
You can search their certified used cars. And you pick the model and you pick, it gives you the years. This one, something's got to be wrong with this one. It's got 35,000, but it's a 2020 14,780.
How many miles? There's something very wrong with that.
Well, it might just be the base model, or who knows?
Even then, that's very cheap.
But it's a certified used vehicle.
All right.
So yeah, I would look at So these guys basically, I was doing that not to try to tell you what to do, but to just show that this guy was full of crap, that they were going to charge you for some inspection that they did before they even took a car in and put a price on it on the floor.
Yeah. Well, Mark's is saying in the chat that you guys do understand that sometimes those are vehicles they either never had or they just posted even though they just sold it, and they use that to bring customers in.
We do understand, but there's also places you can do it. My brother who was in the title loan business and then had sold used cars as part of his thing. He only does stuff online. He never goes in. He just bought the most beautiful. He's got one of these new Broncos. It's definitely the antithesis of what you guys are looking for, hybrid and stuff. This thing probably, I think he has to have a tanker. I think he has to tow a gas tanker behind it. It's got these giant wheels and the whole top comes off. I went to let his dog out and I opened the garage and I see this thing, and it was like when they opened the Ark of the Covenant. I was just like, oh, my face started to melt. It was like, this is the coolest vehicle ever. And my nieces all love it. But my sister-in-law doesn't like it because the dog is afraid to get in it. The dog won't ride in it. She doesn't like it because the dog doesn't like it. I'm like, oh, you didn't take the dog shopping for the car? He's like, no.
That's hilarious.
So yes, but he all online. He doesn't, because he knows how to do it. He's been doing this for a long time. And so he just, then when he finally finds it online and he's been dealing with everything online, then he goes in and gets it,
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I'll update everybody. I'm not going to go car shopping this week with Gen Con coming up. Yeah. So there's
just
that.
Steal a car in Indiana.
So I looked at Indiana because I'm like, I wonder if I could get one cheaper there. You pay the tax based on where you register it anyway.
Right. You have to pay the tax. I did buy, in fact, the Trailblazer. This was a long time. We were living in California. And my brother knew somebody who worked for GM and corporate and had an eye on like all the used car inventory everywhere. So I was like, what are you looking for? And I told him, and they go, well, we're getting one in. It's just what you want. It's going to be, I forget where it was, somewhere in central Indiana. And I was like, all right, well, I'm flying back to the Midwest to do some stand-up work anyway. So my mom drove me down to central Indiana. I picked up this car. It was exactly what had been told me. It was fantastic. And I drove it back to California.
Nice.
Yeah. You'll have fun. At least now you know the make and model that you're looking for. So you're moving up. Now, does it have to be black or just any color that's not the same kind of blue as your other color?
I literally don't care.
I know you don't. I don't know how that is.
I won't even know. If it's not black or white, I will just say it's some other color.
That's so weird. Now, I don't pay a lot of attention, but I do like the color of the car. I pay a lot of attention to.
Yeah.
You know, the rest of it, you know, I like the last one, I had a couple different models or makes and models in mind. And I went out and I test drove them. And then it was like, okay. And I actually found the one I have now. I online looking at all the dealer websites and stuff and pretty much had it all locked in. But then the same thing as you, I went in, they tried to sell me all this other stuff. I'm like, stop. No, I'm leaving. And I did actually. There were twice during the negotiations that I got up to leave. All right, fine, I'm out of here. And I was, not being very kind about it.
It is a nice feeling because when we went in to get our first car, we were about to move to the suburbs with no car. Like we literally had to buy it.
Yeah.
And it was just the best deal. And the lady did the thing where she went to the back 7 times and I got her down like $100. It was bad. This guy, I mean, the minute I was like, yeah, I'm good, I'm going to go. I mean, boy, his tune changed real quick. He's like, what number do I need to show you to buy this car?
That's when you pinch the baby on the leg and she starts crying. You go, I got to take the baby.
No, oh God, having the kids was such an asset because that's what I did. I was just like, I would test drive something else, but the kids are getting fussy and I got to go right now. Later.
Now. See ya.
Good excuse.
But what about my card? Don't you want my card? Nope, I don't want your card.
I think they followed up today, but
I'm just a looky-loo.
Well,
you're going to badmouth me tomorrow.
Well, hey, I'm getting a new car, and you're going to get a new stylist. Or you got a new stylist.
No, well, this is, I got a haircut, which I felt bad. I saw you yesterday. You didn't even mention it. But, I had been going to that place where you went by your house. Mm-hmm. For a long time.
I'm going tomorrow, by the way.
Are you?
For a haircut,
and that's why I had texted you to ask who does your hair. Mm-hmm. Now, I liked the person who had been cutting my hair, but there was a problem in this area. And every time I went, there was more.
You're pointing at your whole head.
No, I'm pointing at just the right here. I'd say corners, but my head isn't square. It would pop out like not the top, but just as you come off the top. Above your ears, right at the curve of your head.
Where your head starts to curve
Where your
down.
head starts to curve, yeah. Mm-hmm. It was too weird. And I needed a haircut because I got this show I have a meeting tomorrow in Milwaukee, and then I've got 2 shows at the state fair, and I was doing a stand-up thing the other night, so I wanted to look spiffy. And I was like, well, I can't go to another stylist at that shop because that's awkward. I just can't. So, all right, now I got to find another place. Well, in my entire adult life, I've only gone to one barber till we moved for years and years. I went to one barber. Then we moved to Los Angeles. I found a barber. I stayed with him the whole time we were in Los Angeles. I came back, I dabbled a couple times, and then I went back to my original barber, even when I moved and I would have to drive 45 minutes to get to that barber when I had my flat top. Then he retired, and I had to find another. It's very traumatic to find somebody to cut your hair.
Yeah.
So I'm online. I'm like, because it is like a relationship, and this is a breakup.
Well, it is a relationship.
I ghosted this guy.
It's not like a relationship. There's literally 2 people. By definition, that is a relationship.
All right, so it's a relationship.
Uh-huh.
And, again, I like this guy, and he didn't do a bad job. It was just I needed something. He didn't have any appointments either because I was like, well, I'll go back to him one more time and try to explain to him I don't like these big bozo poofs that keep coming out the side of my head. And, whatever I'm using, maybe I'm using the wrong product. I don't know.
You use product?
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you use?
Well, I was using American Crew, like a clay, to keep
Yeah.
it all in place. And now with this, God, now I have gel in there.
Oh,
Yeah. Which is where I haven't worn gel in 40 years.
wow.
I haven't used gel. So I found I'm looking around and like one place I'm looking and it seems, I'm reading the descriptions of the barbers and stuff, and I'm like, this might be a little too progressive for me. None of the pictures on their website had guys over like 35 getting haircuts there. And, I didn't want an androgynous pixie, which was, got, one of the descriptions, and, or a Don Draper, which another stylist had. And so I was like, all right. And I found this place that had really good reviews and is like 5 minutes from my house. And I'm like, all right, well, and I'm debating. How bad can it be? Which is horrible because I've gotten bad haircuts in the past. We've all gotten bad haircuts. And it's one of these. All right, let me ask you this, Cody, because I had never run into this before. Have you ever heard of salons where you make an appointment and you have to pay in advance?
No.
2 of them that I looked at, you had to pay in advance when you made your appointment. And they wanted the tip and everything. I'm like, sorry, that's not happening.
I mean, maybe it's because I don't know. I had to cancel like 2 haircuts in a row with my stylist, and that eats into their bottom line if they're booked
Well,
up.
that's the one. It ended up being the shop I went to, but they have a lot of barbers. He's either the owner or the head barber. His thing was, I make you pay in advance to show respect for my time and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, all right. But it also said walk-ins welcome. So I was like, you know what? I'll go to this place. Now, I was rolling the dice because the shop was geared primarily on their website and in all the pictures to Hispanic young men, which is fine. Hair is hair. It doesn't matter. But, some of them had the very distinct lines and the precise beards, the pictures. And I'm like, well, I don't need any of that, but I'll go because they had good reviews. And what the hell, let's go. So I decide, though, I'm going to walk in. And I walked in and there was a, guy sitting there. Oh, hello, sir. How are you? Are you a walk-in? Yes, I am. He turns to another guy and goes, this gentleman's a walk-in. Who's up? The guy said, you are. So he went back. He said, what's your style? I said, I don't know. I said, I hate this. I said, my whole life, most of my life, I had a crew cut. I miss it being a little shorter on the sides and in the back. I said, I don't know what to do at the top because there's not as much there as there used to be. He goes, don't worry, I got you. That was the last thing he said to me. And then he proceeded. It was like, you ever been to one of those Tepan grills where they're like a Benihana?
Mm-hmm.
This guy was Benihana in my head. He had the clipper and the comb and then some scissors and then a hair dryer to blow everything back. And then he started again. And there were points where I was like, oh my God, this looks horrible. And then all of a sudden he was like, oh no, that was, he got it. And then and he finishes it all up and he goes, what do you think? And I'm like, yeah. I said, yes. I said, what size blade did you use on the side? He goes, it was a 4. And then I tapered it down. I said, it's perfect. I said, what'd you just throw a little gel in there? And he's like, yeah, just a little bit of gel. I'm like, okay. Wow. I said, this was great. I'll see you again. So yeah, it worked out fine, but now I'm afraid if I'm ever over at your house, like walking around, we go to Dairy Queen or something, I run into the old stylist, and then it's like seeing the girl that you ghosted. Like, hey, how are you? They'll go, oh, you look good. I don't want to get into it.
So that's definitely not going to happen. But
sure. Oh, we're never going to Dairy Queen when I'm at your house?
We are definitely going to Dairy Queen.
And there's a brewery near your house now.
There is. Well, it's been there, but I haven't.
Right. Well, yeah. Now you know about it, and now I know you know about it.
Yeah. That's great. Congratulations. So you're going to go back to this stylist.
I'm going
now.
back to this guy. He's right by the house. He's $10 cheaper.
Oh,
That didn't weigh in on it. Because if the haircut had been bad, I would have just shaved my head.
Dude, one of the best haircuts I ever got was when I went to CES 2 years ago. I needed a haircut when I got to the trade show.
Yeah.
And I went, and they had a little barber shop in, if you can believe it, I think it was Circus.
I believe it.
Where I was staying, and they were about to close up. It was just like this one lady, and she was like, I was like, "Are you open?" She's like, "I got time for one more." It was like $80 because it's in the strip.
Sure, Vegas, yeah.
But damned if it wasn't one of the best haircuts I ever had. I was like, holy crap, lady. And same as you. You just kind of go in. I'm like, this is what I kind of like. And then they're just.
Yeah, and they know if they've been doing it a long time. According to his card, he's Chicago's favorite barber.
Ooh.
I'm like, all right, you got me.
So you've always had your haircut by men?
In California, I found this old style barbershop because I stopped two guys at the mall. This is how weird it was. I saw two guys with really good crew cut flat tops. And I said, "Hey man, I know this is weird, but I just moved here. Where do you get your haircut?" They go, "Oh, over in Canyon Country, this barbershop." And again, it was a dad and his daughter, and then two guys. And Simon normally cut my hair. But sometimes you couldn't make appointments. You just went in, and sometimes you'd sit. And if you wanted to wait, but I had the daughter cut my hair a few times, and she did a great job too. Everybody, I think I got a haircut from everybody in that place, and they all did a great job. I'm trying to remember if I had female stylists before. I'm sure I have. It's not a thing. But like with a crew cut, back when I had them, it was mostly the purview of old school barbers. Because I got the few times I was either on the road or was moving or something, and I went to a barber I didn't know, and they go, "Oh yeah, we can do flat tops." I was like, "Oh no, you can't." Oh my God. And I'd be at home with my own trimmer trying to get everything right. Ooh. Best one I ever got was was it Savannah? I think it was Savannah, Georgia. And it was near a military base, and it was a great clips in the mall. But because it was near the military base, they were used to giving 1 million crew cuts and flat tops. And those women, you went in and it was like, "Oh yeah, we could do it." And it was the best haircut ever. I was like, "Oh my God, this is fantastic." But
it's funny because at one point in my like mid to late 20s, I realized I have never gotten a haircut I liked from a man.
Really?
And I didn't ever have a regular stylist until I was like close to 30 when I lived in Lincoln Park. That was the first time I started to go to the same place, Robert Jeffrey, Lakeview.
I went to a Robert Jeffrey back when I was just out of college in Homewood.
Oh, they're great.
Yeah.
They're great. But yeah, no, at one point, like in my late 20s, I was like, "Hey, do you have any appointments or somebody?" And they said, "Oh, we can get you in with Ken at 1. How's that?" And I was like, yeah, this is going to sound weird, but like, are there any women stylists? Because like, I don't get good haircuts from guys, but there was no way to not sound like a weird creeper, right?
Right.
Like,
you're like, and I also like when their boobs rub on my shoulders.
Right,
what?
right, exactly. it's like, I want a hot girl touching my hair. Like,
I want the shampoo girl's cleavage to be right in my nostrils.
I was like, I'm not trying to sound weird. I've never gotten a good haircut that I liked from a guy, a stylist, ever. And I think the other person on the other line just didn't buy it. Like they're just like, yeah, right. It's like,
all right,
okay,
weirdo.
I should not go into this place. But there's plenty of great guy stylists. I just haven't.
Yeah, and this guy, I liked how my hair looked good. It was just I was tired of it, and I needed something now. And I checked a bunch of dates, and I couldn't get anything in with him in the time. So it was like, I'm going to try something new.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it's much more convenient. It's a lot easier than driving 35 minutes out to your place.
I had the same conversation with my wife. My wife does yoga,
Yeah.
And she started taking yoga classes in like, I don't know, somewhere like 20 minutes from here. There is literally less than a mile south of our house on this same main street that we're off of, literally a yoga studio there. And we lived here like 3 years before she went. And it was like, what are you doing? It's just like, well, they don't have a lot of classes. I don't know if they do the kind of yoga. I'm like, just go. Just go and see, go in.
Yeah,
maybe
go and check it.
Maybe like they have a help wanted sign at the desk that says we really want a Pilates teacher. Like, like just so
Yeah. So and listen, it's right next door to a Chipotle and right across the parking lot from a Crumbles Cookies, which I've never had Crumbles Cookies, but I hear they're really good.
We have a lot.
5 minutes from the house.
We have a lot more to get to.
Yes, let's get to it.
We have to talk about your golden issues and your fanny putt.
I need to talk about your son's upcoming birthday party. And what was the other one? The children's theater.
No, children's
what did you take your child to see at the theater?
Because that birthday party will be in a few weeks early on that.
Right, but it's going to be. No, I'm just saying it's very early in the morning.
Northwestern University in Evanston had a production of children's theater kind of thing. Lyle Crocodile.
Ooh.
Lyle, are you familiar with
I
Lyle?
don't, but I like the rhyme, and I think a nice crocodile show would be fun for the children.
Right, Lyle Crocodile.
Okay.
We my whole family went Saturday morning.
Oh wow. Even the baby?
Yeah.
Sure, babies like crocodiles.
Right. I didn't know what I expected, but we walked in and it was just like a theater performance. Just half the people there were 3 to 5.
Okay.
Get in. There's the stage. Like my son is literally not even 3 yet. He'll be 3 in about a month. So he's never been to a theater, right? He doesn't know what the hell this is going on. We're sitting
because you wouldn't buy him a ticket to Cats.
Oh my god, he's gonna see Cats so many times. He didn't even want to. So we walk in. He didn't even want to go down the stairs to our row to take a seat.
Oh no!
He just he was like, I don't know what this environment is, and
because it was dark, right?
I mean,
yeah, but it's a big place, big auditorium,
darkish. I'm like, go down by mommy. She's like walking down there. He's like, no. So we worked it out, got him down, and I'm like, all right. The lights are going to go down and they're going to start to do a show. What the hell is going to happen? What do you think happened when the show started?
Oh boy. I think he ran up to the stage or started screaming at them.
No.
Fell asleep?
Nope. Much to my enjoyment, both he and my daughter were utterly stunned.
Wow. It's like TV came to life.
Paralyzed. My daughter is 7 months old, and she sat on my lap staring with her giant. Her eyes are half the size of her head. She's so cute.
I meant to ask you about that.
Just giant eyes,
she's beautiful.
Staring. Didn't even have a pacifier. She's just sitting there, and my son, God bless him, he had a school bus in one hand in his left hand.
Of course.
He had his little toy school bus and then a cookie they gave us when we came in. He's got the cookie in the right hand. And he's sitting there with his hands like just kind of neutral, kind of up, holding the 2 things, just frozen. Just sitting there, just like jaw dropped. I don't know what was going on in his head, and then like 10 minutes into the show, he like slowly takes a bite of his cookie and just like keeps staring. And it wasn't that silly or funny of a show. It was like a real, like it had a plot, and
sure,
it was like just a regular kind of play. That it wasn't like a short attention span. We got to be flashy and have whatever. Like they'd sing a song and then talk about the power of friendship and then do that again. But dude, they made it through the whole show. It was like an hour.
Wow.
Yeah.
They are cultured.
I was shocked. So now next step is children's opera. Because the lyric does stuff for kids. Totally going to bring me the opera. It's going to be awesome.
I know you are.
I'll bring you to the opera someday too.
I'll go to the children's opera. Because I bet they're singing in English.
That's how we get you into it.
That's it. Yeah. I got to go to the children's opera. They go, oh, this might not be too bad. Maybe I go to a big person's opera. And that's not fat shaming to anybody.
I've been threatening to bring you to the opera for years. It's going to happen.
Listen, it might happen.
It's going to happen.
All right. Listen, I'll get a monocle. I'll get some spats. We'll go to the opera.
Okay.
But I'm going to dress up. I'm going to dress up crazy.
Okay. Well,
it'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Da, 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 and I'll sing along, just like I'm at a Springsteen concert.
You are supposed to sing along.
Are you?
No.
Oh, damn. Yeah. Can you sing along at the kids' opera, you think?
Maybe. Yeah, with that voice, yes.
Yep, I'll sing along kids' opera. I'm a singer.
Well, that's.
I hope if they do a Thomas the Tank Engine opera, I'm there.
Oh man,
Roger, I know there's English translations at the big people opera. You know, I just have no. I don't cast shade on the performers. They're very, very talented. It's not my bag.
Well, you don't know that, so you won't go to the opera, but you will go to Fancy Putt Putt. What's that about?
Oh man, dude, I was not too far from your house. Last Mother's Day, I gave Debbie a certificate for this putt shack in Oak Brook.
Putt shack.
It's called Putt Shack. It's a high-end, like, putt-putt joint. It's on the second floor of this building near Macy's in the Oak Brook Center. And it's got 4 courses. And then it's a bar and a restaurant and a whole thing. And there were 1 million people there. So I gave her this thing because she likes to go miniature golfing. One year we went to this place up north, some old school one, and she likes it. So I gave her this thing a year ago, May.
Wow.
And I'm like, you ever going to use that gift card? So last week she said, next Friday we're going to the Putt Shack. I said, oh, okay, we'll go to Putt Shack. So we get there and it's very high. I was like, oh my God, just to register you're filling out all this stuff on this touch screen and this and that. And they tell you, okay, we were on the Emerald course and it's 9 holes, but here's the thing. It's all high tech. So you're not keeping score. The computer is somehow keeping score with the ball that you have.
What?
Because when you go to check in at your course, all the names are on this big board. What's your name? I go, well, Brian. She goes, okay. And so she presses the button and a ball comes out. She goes, this is your ball. Then she presses Debbie's name and a ball comes out. She goes, this is your ball. Like, okay. And she said, you can play in order or you can jump around if you want, if there's a big line. Okay. So you go and there's a sensor pad with a black circle in it and you put the ball down. And then the computer screen above the hole lights up and says, all right, Brian, take your shot. And all the holes are very cool, high tech, like holy moly kind of holes. There was one that was beer pong where they had the cups set up and you shot up a ramp and your ball dropped in one of the cups and then came out. There was one that was like Tetris where the pieces were coming across and you had to get through. But the ball has all the high-tech stuff. So we skipped a couple holes because there were big lines. The computer knows what hole you were on. So it comes up like at a bowling alley with the score sheet all filled in with what holes you're on. And it gives you bonuses for certain things. Like there was one hole where you had to answer a trivia question, true or false. And if you hit it through the right side, like my answer was false, I hit it through the false side, I got an extra 50 points for that. And then it was something. And once the ball goes in the hole, up on the screen, way to go. You got it in 2. Here's what you get for this hole. And the big score comes up. And then it keeps running. And it was like, oh my God, this is insanity. It was so cool. And the holes were crazy. And there were people, there were adults there. Because of course, my first question, can we take a beer with us on the course? It's 9 holes and there's 2 of us. It's going to take us about 20 minutes. But, it's Friday afternoon. We should have, oh yes. And at each hole, they had like a big table where you could sit your beer down and then you putt. And there was one that was a big wheel, and you went up, and once you passed the sensor, the wheel would start to spin, and it would give you a bonus, like 25-point bonus if you get a hole in one, because then it spat the ball out. And boom, I got my bonus because I got a hole in one. And then at the 9th hole, it goes in and keeps the ball like at any other mini golf place, and it adds up your score, and then you see who's the winner, and boom, boom, boom. So I would recommend it. Now, because it's a trendy touristy place, the food and the drink, not crazy expensive, but not cheap. I saw a lot of people with kids come in, and they did the golf and then they left, but it was fun. It was, and the holes were really cool. It's not like the old windmill hole. It's all very high tech, which was amazing to me.
Yeah, especially with a name like Putt Shack.
Putt Shack.
Oakbrook.
Putt Shack, baby.
They were the golf engineers were so preoccupied with whether they could, they never considered whether they should.
Well, they did, and I'm glad.
Wow.
So there's my shout out to Putt Shack. You should go. We'll have to meet up there. We'll have to meet up for once the boy can hold, not Molly's the boy, you're the boy.
Yeah.
Once your son can hold a putter, he'd have a ball.
I bet.
We were behind a kid. We were behind a family. It was the dad's birthday, and I felt bad for the dad because not really. He had one son who was maybe 5 or 6, maybe 4 or 5, and then a younger one who was just on his iPad with giant headphones and just walking along. And the mom was there, and they were there for the dad's birthday. And the little kid was playing, but then he got mad because we had to wait. We were behind them, and we had played all the holes but 8 and 9, and so had they. And we were waiting, and there was a big group, and the kid got a little upset. He was not having fun because he had to wait. So he started to cry, and his mom goes, "Why are we here? For Dad's birthday." Okay, then we shouldn't get mad. Yes, Mom. Meanwhile, I'm like, oh, my beer is almost done. Let's go.
Yeah, dude, that's wow.
So it's fun.
High
tech little thing, and we left the house. I didn't enjoy it.
Not a fan. No, my family's booked like every weekend in August.
I know you've got all kinds of stuff going on.
It's a crazy month, but once September hits,
yeah, we got to figure that out. We got a beer fest coming up in a couple weeks too.
We got a lot going on.
Yeah, we got a lot.
Yeah, what happened in your garden?
All right, the garden. Well, first of all, today I made my first big batch of salsa from things that I harvested in my garden. So that's all good.
We harvested a zucchini that was literally 2 feet long.
See, that's congratulations. Last year we had such great luck with cucumbers, which are in the zucchini type family.
Maybe that's what it was.
This year our cucumbers are all screwed up. The plants are yellow, and the bottoms, they're growing, but then the bottoms are still curly. And so we've been Googling all kinds of things. And one of the things, too much water, not enough water, not enough nutrients. Then one was your plants aren't being pollinated because it's rained so much and there aren't enough bees. So you might have to self-pollinate, which sounds like, an atrocity against the Lord. So I don't know if I should be trying to self-pollinate in my backyard, but, yeah, we're not having great luck with the cucumbers this year, but our peppers, oh my God, the peppers are going like crazy. And my tomatillos, I was very excited to grow some tomatillos because I was going to roast them and make some salsa with tomatillos, and they're all falling off. They're getting to be about the size of a marble, and they're still in the husk, and they're dropping off. So I think squirrels are messing with my tomatillos.
That sucks. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But man, I've got these red peppers that I'm a little bit nervous about because yesterday I was reading and it said I needed to wear rubber gloves when I harvest them. And because they're very hot. Super chilies, they're called. And they're tiny redwood. Like the next batch of salsa, I'm going to use one, and I think I'm going to roast them and dry them, and then make chili, red pepper flakes out of them.
Oh, that's smart. We planted some kind of pepper. Don't remember what kind, but it has been harvesting like crazy. Like we got like 20 this week or something.
Yeah, I've got 2, like a kind of a yellow Anaheim chili and a green poblano chili and jalapenos, and those are all coming up great.
Nice.
So,
all right, so not too bad, just a little setback.
No, just I'm having trouble with the cucumbers because they look so weird. It's like they start and they look like they're gonna grow, and then they just got a weird little curly cue, like a pig's tail on the end of them. I'm like, oh, damn it.
Yeah.
But that's agriculture, Cody. That's the business. It's you're at the whim of nature.
It's the culture.
It's a culture of agriculture.
Oh,
boy. Did you have anything else? Oh, I did RSVP. But I asked, I don't know if your wife told you, I sent a little note about the hour for your son's birthday party and if there was going to be eggs and toast because it's a morning party. And I figured if your son, it's too early probably for cake and craziness, but that's his eggs and toast time.
That became a whole conversation tonight. Actually.
Did it really? I'm sorry.
It did.
I was kidding. I
did.
hope they knew that your wife knew that.
And then she's like, "Could we cater in like McDonald's breakfast biscuits or something?" And I was like, "If we have a McDonald's themed 3-year-old party, I think we might get judged."
Well, why don't you just, if you're going to do a McDonald's party, do it at the fun zone at McDonald's, or you can go to the ball pit.
I'm good on that.
Yeah.
But we'll talk more about that in a few weeks. And then next week, I think I'll probably have some Gen Con stories.
I hope so. We always look forward to your, which costume are you taking, or have you outgrown that part of your life?
Well, it's not that I outgrew it. It's a relative. So all my friends are driving in Wednesday.
Okay.
To be there all day, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I loving my wife the way I do. I am eschewing Wednesday and most of Thursday. I'm flying in Thursday night.
Flying to Indianapolis. Now you're bougie.
Yeah, it's like
the car thing didn't make you bougie. You're taking a private jet to Indianapolis. That makes you bougie.
Yeah, me and the other 100 people on it, private jet.
Well, it's semi-private.
Yeah, just like a 20-minute trip or something. But no, so I'm packing lighter, not as much room for costumes, and my focus is different this year, but I will explain that.
Yes. Well, we'll look forward to hearing all the Gen Con stories as we always do.
Yes.
You got anything else for tonight?
Never.
All right, perfect. Well, Cody, tell people how you're all about the social media. What should they do about this podcast? How do they do? What they follow? They subscribe? They like?
I don't know.
Just tell people.
You're probably listening to this, if you're not watching us live, on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And you can actually rate the show if you're on those. Just pull out your phone, tap 5 stars. If you're driving, pull over your car, then do that.
Yeah.
Just tap 5 stars. You can
5-star reviews is nice.
You can write a review if you want. You don't have to. You can just tap 5, submit, call it a day.
Easy.
Yeah, you're on Spotify. Those are good. But what really actually helps us grow the show is just tell a friend. Just be like, I know these guys that do a pretty funny show once a week, 90 minutes, not bad. Throw it out there. Good times. You could rate us on Facebook, Roger? I don't even know that.
I think Roger's on dial-up. He doesn't. I don't think that.
He's probably right. I don't know.
Could be true. Thanks, Roger. Throw the 5. Marta, I didn't talk about the St. Charles show. I will suffice it to say it was a lovely little place, the Moonlight Theater. I had a very good show till the last joke. And the last joke ate it, and I was out of time, and it was the most awkward end to any show I've ever done, where I kind of just went, I'm done. Thank you. That was it. Had I left on the joke right before, I would have been hailed a hero. I went one joke more that used to always kill. I don't know what it is now. It didn't kill that night, but it was a good joke. Everything else was going great. I was like, oh, this is the pot story, crazy response. Everything else really good. I'm working on new stuff, and but the show was good. The show was good, and the people were very nice. Small crowd, but it's the summer, and so I hope to come back.
And now, ironically, you're ending the show with that terrible story of how
it's not a terrible story. It was a good show.
Yeah,
Just it's one of those things that I will remember now till the next time I do a show. It's like, oh, that was an awkward ending, but it wasn't a bomb. It wasn't a complete bomb. It was just
good.
A 30-second bomb at the very end. And I was like, it's not worth trying to dig out. Let's just leave. Which is
Amazing.
what we're going to do right now. We'll just leave. Thank you for listening. Thanks for being here.
It is. Bye.